So this video is called factoring. This is the general form of a trinomial, ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are some number. So in the last video, you multiplied out a binomial like this. And when you multiplied it out, you got x squared plus 2x plus 3x plus 6. And when you combine these two, you got x squared plus 5x plus 6. So in this video, we want to do the opposite of distributing, which is to factor. So I want to start with this and come up with this. So when I look at this, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply that make 6. That's how I ended up with this 6 here. 2 times 3 is 6. And notice that when I combined them or added them, I got 5. So when we factor something like this, we start with x times x because that's where the x squared came from. And then we just need two numbers that multiply make 6, but added makes 5. So we do plus 2 plus 3. We know that in order to make 6, we also could have had a 1 times 6, because 1 times 6 also makes 6. But when you add them, 6 plus 1 is 7. Had you tried something like this, 6 and 1, and said maybe this is positive and this is negative, because 6 minus 1 is 5. The problem is that 6 times negative 1 is not positive 6. So we're working backwards. We're trying to come up with this trinomial by factoring. So let me show you another example that I used in the previous video. We had something like this. Okay, so that was the answer after we multiplied two binomials together. So I'm trying to factor this. So I want it to look like this. And this is different than the factoring we did in a previous video, which was factoring out a common factor. That was one term. This is a trinomial, and we're trying to factor it. So in order to get this x squared, when I do the FOIL method, I end up with x here and x here. X times x is x squared. Now I need two numbers that multiply that make 12. It could be 1 and 12, because they multiply to make 12. But when I add these, or subtract them if they're different signs, I'm going to get either 13 or 11. So that doesn't get me the 7 that I'm looking for. So we'll try something else. Maybe it's 2 times 6, because 2 times 6 is 12. But 6 plus 2 is 8, and 6 minus 2 is 4, and that doesn't get me the 7 that I'm looking for. So then I try 3 times 4 is 12, and 3 plus 4 is 7. In order to be a positive 12, it has to be positive 3 times positive 4, or negative 3 times negative 4, because negative times negative is positive. And when you add these two together, you get negative 7. So basically, you're looking for two numbers that multiply together make this, and added together makes this. And that's how you factor. This is the factorization. And if you want to check your answer, just use the FOIL method, or distribute x times x is x squared, x times negative 4, negative 3 times x, and negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12. And when I add these together, I get negative 7x. So that's how you check your answer to make sure you end up back where we started. Okay, let me do another example. I'll take an example that we did from the previous lesson. We ended up with something that looked like this. So once again, I need two numbers that multiply make 10. This is going to be x and x for now. If there were a leading coefficient, we call it, or a number out here, it would change this. It makes it a little more difficult, so that'll be the next video. For now, I'm just going to keep this x squared, so it's always going to be x and x. Two numbers that multiply makes 10. It could be 1 times 10, but 1 plus 10 is going to be 11, or 10 minus 1 is going to be 9, so it can't be 1 and 10. So I'll try the only other choice, which is 2 times 5. And 5 minus 2 is 3, so 5 minus 2 is 3, and 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. So if you were to FOIL this and work it out, you'll end up back over here, and you can check that. Okay? So it's pretty easy, but it's something that's important, especially if you're going on in math and doing something next year. You're going to see this again, so it's important that we get good at this. So we're going to do a lot of practice with this. So I will give you a trinomial and ask you to factor it, and you're looking for two numbers that multiply, make this number here, and add it or subtract it, make the middle term here. And that's factoring.